It's only day two. It's only day two. What a day. Hmm? Today we saw three more playoff series get started. First off, the Islanders and Penguins kicked off their series. This is their second playoff meeting in 3 years. We all know how the 2019 meeting ended. The Islanders swept Pittsburgh out. So today it was kind of back and forth. It was 1-1 after one, but Pittsburgh had a 2-1 lead after two periods of play. But the Islanders tied early in the third, and Brock Nelson scored with about 6 minutes and change left. But Kasperi Kapanen tied up seconds later, and just like that, overtime. We go to overtime, and it was a long one. Not like the one last night, but it was a long one. And it was Kyle Palmieri who ended it. And Palmieri had a hell of a night. He scored twice. I think he scored the first. He scored the first goal of the game, and he scored the last goal of the game. So it's safe to say Kyle's glad to be out of New Jersey. So the Islanders strike first in game one, and that's 5 straight playoff games won over the Penguins by the Islanders. And Pittsburgh's in the hole, down 1-0. Next up was Minnesota and Vegas, and this is the other West series. And as an Avalanche fan, I was very conflicted. I'm pretty sure a lot of us were, because we don't like the Wild, and we don't like Vegas. We really don't like Vegas, but we really can't stand Vegas right now. But the whole thing with the Wild, that goes back decades, since 2000. Colorado and Minnesota have been division rivals since 2000. We just got into this rivalry with Vegas, and already we can't stand them. So it's been kind of a conflicted rooting interest. But it was crazy. The game was scoreless throughout, and it was mostly Fleury kind of standing. Well, not Fleury. It was mostly Cam Talbot for Minnesota standing on his head, stopping everything Vegas had was going for. But this overtime came with a power play because Jonathan Marchessault committed a penalty early in the period, and Minnesota had a power play. It was killed, but right after it was killed, Joel Eriksson Ek shoots and scores, puts it in, and I just laughed. I was just laughing. I was. Oh boy. I can just hear the excuses coming from Vegas. Coming from Vegas. I'll bet fans will still blame Leonard, even though he wasn't the one in net. One person on Twitter said Fleury got the DeGrom treatment. That's pretty much what happened. But in the end, it's Vegas that's in the hole, 1-0. My goodness. My goodness. I'm trying to remember. I think this is the first time in franchise history. Yeah, it is. This is the first time in franchise history that Vegas starts the playoffs 0-1, because they won the first playoff game of their season. They won the first playoff game in existence in 18, game 1 against LA. They won game 1 against San Jose in 19, and 20 was kind of complicated. They played the round robin games, but they won all of those. And when it came to the first game of the Sweet 16 playoffs, they won the first game of that. So this is the first time in franchise history that they actually start the playoffs down 1-0. So we'll see how Vegas gets out of this little hole, because 1-0 is a small 1-0 is a small hole in the best of 7 series. And then we got the Florida series. Good God. It was like World War III out there. So many penalties, so much fighting, so much bad blood. It was beautiful as hell. And this game was on while I was watching the Wrestling Backlash pay-per-view. Hence why I'm wearing this Rey Mysterio shirt. By the way, congrats to Rey and son Dominic for winning the tag titles. That's a beautiful moment. It ranks up there with many father-son moments in sports, like Ken Griffey Sr. injury, hitting back-to-back home runs, and that Stanley Cup commercial with the old legends spelling out their name, and what I loved was Bobby and son Brett spelling out Hull together. It's just beautiful as hell. But back to the action. This is another close one, and it looked like, and it was tied 4-4. The clock was right down. I go, they going to overtime again? Whoa, we going 4-4 because when Minnesota and Vegas went to overtime, it marked the first time in NHL history that the first three playoff games played this season all went to overtime. But Braden Point scored his second goal of the night with a $1:14 left, and that held up. So no overtime there. Tampa Bay, the reigning defending undisputed Stanley Cup heavyweight champions, took care of business in 60 minutes. And now Florida's down 1-0. So the road teams really won all the games. The road teams won all their games. Yeah, the Islanders won in Pittsburgh, the Wild won in Vegas, and Tampa won in Sunrise. So yeah, so the road teams won. The only home win was Washington so far. And of course, following the playoff games was one of the three remaining games between Calgary and Vancouver to finish off the regular season. I didn't watch this game because it wasn't a playoff game and it was meaningless, but from what I read, it ended up being interesting. Calgary was up 4-0, and then all of a sudden they were in overtime tied at 5. But Calgary did win in overtime thanks to Elias Lindholm. So Vancouver's in a quest to avoid last place. They got a point, which means they can still avoid last place, but they have to win out. If they lose one more point in the standings, they will be stuck in the bottom of that Canadian division below Ottawa. Calgary clinched 5th place in the division when they got to 51 points because yes, they had the 3 games left, and they already clinched the number 1 tiebreaker. So Calgary, even if they had lost out and didn't get a point, they would still finish ahead of Ottawa. But Calgary's going to finish in 5th, and it's between Ottawa, who finished all their games, and Vancouver, who has 2 left for the bottom of the division. Okay, but even so, the playoff action was crazy. It was intense. 3 of the first 4 games go to overtime, but then you had this insane game in Florida. My goodness. Oh man! And tomorrow, Game 2 between the Bruins and Capitals. And then the other Central Series starts between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators. And then we begin our journey. Game 1 of Blues and the Avalanche is tomorrow night. And according to Jared Bednar, all hands are on deck. Not only is Nathan McKinnon back, but Brandon Saad, who's been out for a couple of weeks, he's back too. I cannot tell you how overjoyed I am about this. This is the healthiest we've been entering the playoffs in a long time. Because think about the last few years, it was always something. Because in 2018 we had Varlamov at the time. We had him at the time, and he was out injured. Ironically, he was out injured again today. I think Varlamov and Eric Johnson were out. 19, I think we were dealing with a few things. And last year in the bubble, the injuries came during the playoffs. But yeah, it was always something. And I think we had both our main goalies out. So, but health-wise, it's all good. Everything is good. McKinnon's gonna be back. Saad's gonna come off injury and return, and Grubauer is healthy. I think this is we're gonna get to play our playoffs with Grubauer, and with this good of a chance to win the cup. It's gonna be just great. But the Blues won't make it easy on us. I know that. So that's what's in store tomorrow. Game 2, Boston, Washington. Game 1, Carolina, Nashville. Game 1, St. Louis, Colorado. And I will recap everything tomorrow night. So with that, I say stay tuned and go Avs go.